Are you ready to finally end your addictions? Are you ready to never relapse again? I'm gonna tell you the two biggest secrets when it comes to quitting habits. And trust me, you haven't heard them before. And the best part is that it won't take any discipline or willpower. So stop with the limiting beliefs. You can do it. And I know it works because I used it many times to quit my bad habits and to start new ones and to completely transform my life. So in this course, I'll reveal the unique strategy and show you exactly how to do it yourself to finally end your addiction. And if you truly put in the effort, you will quit for good. Self-image and brainwashing, the big boys. So what is self-image? Self-image is the reason you act the way you act. It's what you believe to be true about yourself, regardless of whether it's actually true or not. And self-image isn't necessarily what you think or believe. It could be self-conscious. Something happened in your life or somebody told you something, and now it's always in the back of your mind, but you don't actually know about it. It's living rent-free in your head. It's one of the biggest factors in what you do and how you act. So your self-image is actually very flexible, and you make your own self-image, or other people tell you things and you make that a part of your image, whether you realize it or not. So this is actually very interesting. Each person has a self-image. Each person has an image about who they believe to be. And it could be true, it could be unrealistic, it could be exaggerated. And sometimes the factors that constitute a self-image aren't even in your hands. So it could happen unconsciously. And once it happens, it sticks with you subconsciously. If you had a bad experience with girls when you were younger, maybe you got rejected a few times, well, that's gonna change your self-image and result in you being more awkward, nervous, scared, or completely avoiding girls. And you don't even know the cause. Let me give you an example. There are two guys. Both are very strong and attractive and rich, but the first guy believes it to be true. He thinks he's in the top 1% in these. And the second guy thinks he's an average in all of them, even though they're both at the same level. How do you think they're gonna act? The first guy is probably going to get cocky, proud, entitled, but the second guy is going to be a lot more humble. And it's all about what you think of yourself. You could be ugly, but keep telling yourself that you're attractive to the point where you actually believe it. And your self-image changes, so you start acting like someone attractive, even though it's not true. And we see examples of this all the time. We're just scratching the surface of the power of self-image. How does it work? So self-image isn't just made magically. You have to go through a certain process. There are three ways it's formed. Someone told you something about yourself and you believed it, or you went through a situation that made you realize something about yourself, or you told yourself something and you believed it. And keep in mind, they could be self-conscious and not even true. And I'm sure you have some beliefs that you made up or don't even know exist. Effects. As we said, your self-image has a huge impact on the way you act, but it doesn't stop there. It limits you physically and mentally. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, you can do anything if you believe it. It's true. If you don't think you can get a new bench PR today, and you truly believe it, well, it's almost impossible to get a new PR. If you believe that you're an average student who only gets 80s or Bs, then that's the only grade you can get. I could keep on giving you examples, but the point is, you can never act against your self-image. It's a belief you make and you can't act against it. It's like a rule you put for yourself. I can do X, or I am X. Depending on the rules you set, you can either limit yourself, actually be yourself, or exaggerate. Again, you can't act against your self-image, but you can change it. How to change your self-image? First things first, you aren't your bad habit or addiction, so stop identifying with it. You aren't the same. You aren't addicted to fapping, nor are you a person who faps. You just do it. Don't build your personality, your self-image around mistakes or bad habits. This will set you up for failure. You hear people say all the time, oh, I'm a smoker or I'm an alcoholic. If you think like that, you're not gonna quit anytime soon. How many times have you heard someone tell you, oh, I'm on a diet right now, or I'm trying to quit, or I'm doing this? And how many times do you see them fail? How many times do they relapse? Most of them never break free. It's because of this belief. They keep putting it into their head. So stop saying that. Instead, say, I don't eat sugar, or I don't do X. I am not X. Seriously, do this. You won't gain anything if you just watch this course and not take action. So right now, this is an actionable step. The next time you mention this, or even take a note right now, the next time you talk about yourself, the next time you think whether you're a person that does this habit or not, don't call yourself, don't give yourself an adjective, because you aren't that. Don't identify with it. You and your mistakes are completely different. Keep that in mind. Make your money and time worth it, and actually apply what I'm going to tell you. Just that already will have a big effect. But it's not enough. You need wins, no matter how small, to change your self-image. And embrace these wins correctly. For example, if you've gone a day or two without doing it, then that in itself is a win. And it deserves celebration. You're slowly proving to yourself that you aren't addicted or who you thought you were. You also need to understand the winning feeling. Remind yourself of success and how it feels, no matter how small or how long ago. The more you remember it, the better. And don't set any limiting beliefs, okay? It seriously doesn't matter how small the win was or how long ago it was. But if you remember it clearly and you remember how you felt and what it was like, then that's all that matters. And I'm sure you have wins like these. You're not a loser. And even if you are, I'm sure you have them. Look for it. The win could be something completely unrelated and small. A win is a win though. Maybe you did a cool parkour trick that you didn't know you could when you were younger. Or you got a good grade, you cooked a good steak, you got a girl's number. It really could be anything. Feel proud and remember that feeling. That's the winning feeling. This will help you because you feel like a winner. If you feel like a winner, then you are a winner, at least temporarily, right? And if you are a winner, then you act like one in every way. Meaning that you have changed your self-image, even if temporary. This can help you push yourself further when challenged. You essentially become what you believe a winner will act like. Healthy, smart, strong, confident, doesn't do the bad habit. The more you do this, the stronger it gets, and the more you identify with being a winner. So I want you to practice this right now. Remember a moment when you won at something. Surprise yourself, proving that you were good or something you're proud of. Again, no matter how small or long ago it was. Close your eyes and lie down. Imagine it and remember what you did and how it felt. Pause the video and do this now, seriously. If you did it, I'm proud of you, and you will definitely end your addictions for good, I'm sure of it. If you didn't, go back and do it. This is your last chance or you'll never quit. To go do it now. I don't care what excuse you're thinking of. And remember, success is built on success. Yes, you learn and progress from failure, of course, but success is just as, if not, important. Try to catch yourself when you set limiting beliefs or identify with a habit or mistake. This is basically negative reinforcement, which we don't want at all. The more you think of your failures and mistakes and actually identify with them, like thinking, saying, or labeling yourself as a failure or somebody who makes mistakes, the more failures and mistakes you act. Learn from your failures. Sure, that's great, that's a good thing. If you don't learn from your failures, then you'll never succeed. So I'm not telling you to not do that. 100% learn from your failures, but do it correctly. And forget that they ever even happened. So learn from your failures, take notes, do whatever you do. But don't make yourself feel sad about it. Don't beat yourself up, and don't keep reminding yourself of it. Also, something to note, you don't want to have a better self-image than reality. We want it as realistic as possible. Nobody likes it when someone is cocky and arrogant, especially when it's built on nothing. I'm sure you see examples of this in your life. Use it to your advantage. Now you know how your self-image works, its effects, and how you can change it. So that's what we're gonna do. Start identifying as someone successful or someone you want to be like. For example, you want to quit porn and stop fapping. So the easiest way to do that is to become someone that doesn't watch porn or fap, right? Get in his mind, be like him, act like him, and think like him. Get obsessed. I know this is weird, but it truly works. Really, I'm serious, this actually works surprisingly well. At first I didn't want to try it, but when I actually gave it a chance, it completely surprised me. And I'm sure it will for you too. Whenever you're tempted, think, what would he do? Make up an imaginary guy. Maybe it's the future you or someone you look up to, but understand him and have a clear definition of his personality and goals. He gets the urge. What does he do next? Work out, study, ignore it, whatever he does. Make him relatable to you. Make him somewhat close to your personality. That way you can relate and already somewhat think alike. And copy him. It's not easy, but with repetition, it will be. That's your actionable step. Seriously, go do this. If you want to succeed, no matter how weird it is, get a pen and paper right now, seriously. Go do it. And describe him. Get detailed. If you do this, I promise you, seriously, you will succeed. Write down everything about him. What does he do? What is his goals? What is he trying to change? What is he trying to implement? And make him relatable to you. The best example is probably the future you. It could be someone you look up to, that's fine, or an imaginary person. But the future you is probably ideal for most people. It's basically who you would be in a few years if you keep making the right choices. So he's gonna be somewhat similar to you. So write down how you think he's gonna act, especially when he gets an urge, because you want to do the same thing. Write down his daily schedule, his goals. What does he do? How does he take action towards his goals? And do the same thing. Because if you copy someone successful, if you copy you in the future that is successful, that is closer that is closer to success than you are right now, then you would be successful as well. Because you're doing the right habits, you're making the right decisions. So do that. So what is brainwashing? It's basically tricking your brain, lying to yourself, hypnotizing to yourself, whatever you want to call it. You smartly and efficiently force a belief or idea into your brain, resulting in you taking it as fact and impossible to act or think against. So it's kind of similar to the self-image. For example, I used this to quit my sugar addiction. I made myself believe that chocolate was disgusting, annoying, and ugly. Seriously, I did this. I kid you not, that made me never want to touch chocolate or anything like it again. I have no urges anymore. If you put the best tasting chocolate, the best cake, the best sweets in front of me, I have no urge to eat it. I don't feel like eating it. And that's because I brainwashed myself. Even if I eat it, I won't like it because I lied to myself. I mean, how could I? I don't even like it or want it anymore. So how it works? You probably already brainwashed yourself and still do. It can be very subtle, like saying you're not strong or smart or that you are addicted. So everyone already does it, whether they know it or not, and whether it affects them positively or negatively. So how to use it to your advantage. So brainwashing yourself in a way to quit a habit or addiction is very smart. You keep telling yourself how bad it is, how much you hate it, how disgusting it is. Even if you don't believe it yet, you could write it down and read it every morning. But the point is repetition. The more you hear it, see it, and think of it, the more ingrained the belief becomes, and the more it starts to feel as fact. It becomes a part of you. For example, social media wastes a lot of time. It makes me depressed. I start comparing and getting jealous. It makes me fap. It's disgusting. I hate it and its effects. This is just an example, but it should look something like this. You also have to actually read it and say it. Don't just passively do it. This is another actionable step for you. Use your emotions. Get angry and sad. Repeat it in other ways. Get specific. You're trying to emotionally, not scientifically, by the way. This is very important. You can't convince your brain, or you really can't convince most people factually or scientifically. You need to be emotional. Use your words. Make sense. Because that won't work. Convince them, convince someone, your brain, to quit. So you're trying to emotionally, not scientifically, because that won't work. Convince someone, which is your brain, to quit. If you want to succeed, do this. Get a pen and paper right now. Seriously, go. Write down the habit that you're trying to quit at the top of the page. List down every bad thing about it, as I showed you earlier, like the example. Do it authentically and use your emotions. Read this every morning and when you're free. And tell yourself that you aren't addicted. You could do this especially when you get the urge. Tell yourself that you don't do it anymore. You could even take it a step further and talk to someone about it and say everything, almost as if you're trying to convince them. Talk about how much better your life would be without it. If you do this, I'm sure you'll quit. And stop with the limiting beliefs, bro. Turn your brain off and listen to mine instead. After all, your brain is what got you addicted. After all, summary. Change your self-image. Act like the future successful you. Use the winning feeling. Stop with the limiting beliefs and brainwash yourself. Now you know everything, but that doesn't matter if you don't apply it or take action. So before moving on to the next course or video, take action. If you feel like there's a part that you didn't understand or want more explanation on, then go rewatch it. And you could ask me as well, or any other person. But don't just move on, don't skip it. Make sure you fully understand it and apply it. Be patient, one step at a time. Apply what you learned, then move on and build on it. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your time and money. With that being said, I'll see you in the next course.